Okay, so welcome back to the intermediate course for Bitwig. DJ Vic Vapor with you. And in the previous lesson, we pulled in the poly synth, got a real basic little pad sound going here. And now we're going to add some modulation and see if we can't open up that sound. So this is what we're working with now. And I'm going to let that play for a second and just work on the pitch of this bottom saw wave. Maybe just give us a little detuning here. Don't want to go too far. Let's go around 10, somewhere in there. Right. Let me open this stuff up a little bit. And let's open up the release. Starting to get a nice little pad sound there. So let's talk a little bit about modulation. In Bitwig Studio, that's one of the really best features of the studio. They're so intuitive and they've made it so easy. There's no big modulation matrix that you're working with. You know, you're not putting in calculations to figure things out. And trust me, I've been down that road, and you know, I spent hours in the studio kind of wasting time to find sounds, and this is just very intuitive and very straightforward. So anywhere you see the little circle and arrow, here, 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 you see it all over here, when you click on that, it actually is going to highlight all these areas turn blue, and they're telling you they're available right now to assign to that LFO for modulation. I'm going to click it off for now. And they're also available in the macro section. So anywhere you see this little symbol, arrow and circle, circle and arrow, that's where we're going to set up modulation. So for now, let's take a look at, let's see what we can do with this guy. So we're going to click it, and let's say we want to add a little bit of modulation to our frequency. So I can, as I start here, it's going to show me, you know, the speed and just how far I can open it up all the way. I don't think there's a need for it for what we're trying to achieve in this lesson, but just to show you have that flexibility. We're going to bring it back, and I think for me, maybe, you know what, I'm going to put the frequency like right in here. Let me hear what we got here. Yeah, I like that better. So we can, you know, open that guy up, or we can keep it nice and soft. I don't want to go too far. With a pad sound, I don't need a ton of movement. I just need a little bit. And if we're done with that, we can just click the LFO that we're working on, or the arrow that we're working with, and it stays there for us. So it's a little bit slower than I want. Let me speed that up a little bit. And let's go back and close it a little bit. I just want a flavor of movement. I don't want a dominating sound of movement, just a taste of it. And you can see just that tiny little movement right there happening for us. And I can choose my waveform over here. I'm going to go back to the saw waveform right there. So it's giving us just a nice little bit of movement right there. And you can see that we have just a huge variety of options here. I mean, this can get really, really in depth real quick. You've got velocity, key, timbre, you know, and just so on and so on, a mod wheel, and just all these different ones that you can begin to really manipulate the sound here. So let's see what we can do with the second LFO. Oh, and by the way, I just want to point out that just because this is being controlled or modulated from the LFO1, we could actually assign it multiple times. So if I wanted to assign it to my mod wheel, I could click on mod wheel and begin to assign it again. I don't have the keyboard hooked up to access my mod wheel, so there's no need for me to do that. But just want to show you that each parameter can be set up or modulated or put in a position to be modulated multiple times. It just doesn't have to be dedicated to one source. So let's see what we can do here. LFO2. I think I want to manipulate the pitch just a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit there. So getting a nice little pad sound coming there. Let me go into the key arrangement and see if we can come up with a different note to listen to along with this one. There we go. It sounds a little bit better, just to give you an idea what we're accomplishing here. So that, in general, is modulation within Bitwig and the polysynth. Like I said, one of the features, I think, for Bitwig that helps it stand alone or stand above some of the other DAWs that are out there. Very, very easy and intuitive to work with. And we're going to continue to develop this a little bit. We're going to take a look at adding layers and stacking instruments together and coming up with big, rich sounds. So let's move on to the next lesson and see how we can accomplish that.